Welcome to a very special episode of Wide Open Throttle. As you can see, we are a man down this week. We had some guys out for testing, but that's okay because we have a very special guest here with us, Tobias Moers, who is the Chief Executive of Mercedes AMG GmbH. Now, Tobias, you are, as of October 1st, in the position. What have you done since then? What major product announcement do you have for us? What is going on with you?
Yeah, you have to know that it's just 2 weeks now.
Yes.
So I did 2 days of good experience together with all the journalists up in Willow Springs because MBUSA did a big AMG event there.
Yep.
It was a presentation of the Black Series on the big Willow track, and we had a CLA45, we had an E63 wagon sedan. And we had the 507 C63 up there.
And you had 5 Black Series.
We had 5 Black Series up there on the big Willow. I think it was a good experience. That's what I did. I did a little bit before then, but what I did the 19 years before at AMG, that's the most important thing.
Right. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Well, that brings up a great point. So everyone knows who you are. Former head of development for AMG, and actually the guy responsible for the first CLK Black, or the first Black Series, the CLK, which is,
as we were talking about before, the first man to head AMG that has come from within, that has been there and worked his way all the way up. So, congratulations. Back to Willow Springs. Was that your first time there?
No, we had a presentation from the CLK Black Series in the streets of Willow, I think 2007. Yeah.
How do you find that track? Do you like it?
A big Willow is amazing.
Yeah?
Driving the Black Series up there, it's so fast. It's a little bit bumpy, the track, and you need a car which has a good body control, very stable car, so the Black Series fits perfect to that track.
Okay.
So you were there, I saw you, and you drove it and you got a ride with someone.
Yeah, I got a ride. It was funny to see. First we were doing the lead follows. The journalists were in the Black Series, and Maxie, the instructor, was in the regular SLS. And it was incredible to see from that perspective. I know Maxie could blow us away in the regular car, but it was just seeing the rear end squirm around and slide around. Granted, he had traction off and was driving with one hand because he was telling us how to not crash. But keeping up, the Black Series was incredible. And then, you were nice enough to give me a lap and really show me. I saw what I can do with the car, and then you showed me what the car can do. And
look at this guy.
No, but I think what he's trying to say is it's good that a performance brand is someone who can drive.
Yes, yeah.
As the head.
It's pretty rare.
I saw him walk the walk before I've seen him talk and he talks. So
you are now installed as the chief executive. What can we look forward to other than 6-wheeled G-Wagons? Yes, coming to America in all dealerships, please.
We said yesterday the mid-mounted V12 AMG Sprinter convertible, right?
I think there's no need for something like that, but there's the white spot in our portfolio. You agree to it, yeah, for sure. But the thing is, no, what we set up is a perfect strategy for the future. I think the next year is very exciting for us. They're coming up a lot of new products. So 2013 was a very exciting year for us because now recently we presented the S63 in Kitzbühel. We met each other there. The weather was bad, I know.
All-wheel drive, it was fine.
For all-wheel drive, it was a perfect approach there. But the thing is, next year is very important for us, and the years after that is...
Well, not just next year. I mean, according to my Mercedes colleagues, you guys have, including CLA and S-Class Mercedes-Benz, for the US is going to launch 30 new products in the next 7 years. How many of those will have AMG variants? Every single one.
No, but a lot of them. A lot of them. I'm not able to tell you the whole strategy of AMG now, but I think the strategy is interesting and will bring up a lot of new products. And we promised our 5th anniversary, we will have a product lineup then more than 30 cars at AMG. And the production volume worldwide will be more than 30,000 cars a year.
Wow.
So looking to that strategy, we're we really got them on track now.
So can you talk about just a little bit of history? Can you talk about, AMG, you guys, with the exception of like the GLK and the B class, you guys kind of do an AMG version of basically every Mercedes passenger car, more or less. How did that strategy come about? Because like you look at like BMW, for a long time they had two, they had the M3, M5, Audi, they're always kind of changing their game plan. They're starting to do more S and RS stuff. But how did like AMG decide like every Mercedes passenger car gets a performance version?
It depends a little bit on the segment. You're right. With the B class, there's no sense for AMG, and with the old compact versions, we have with an A class and B class, and so styling-wise and everything-wise, it was not a perfect fit to AMG. So with the new compact class, which is coming up and still in growth, and new GLA is coming up and everything, it fits better to AMG. I think it's CLA45 is a nice car. It's fit perfect to AMG brand core, which is driving performance. I think AMG is a company by its own. So every car what we have on the market must fit in our brand approach, that's for sure, but it must be a business case for us. It's a business-driven company. So it's a 1,200 people business now in the company, and we are, the board of Mercedes give us the freedom. If there is a business behind that, then do it. And if there is a segment where we can sell the cars, and this S63, that will be we see the demand coming out of the markets, and it's more than we expected, honestly.
Really?
Yep.
So then which would you say of all the products you've launched recently is sort of the riskiest? CLA45, is that, or do you feel like that there is a market for that? Well, you just mentioned S63, there you have a segment there. Is there anything there where you say, this one is
like the G65?
That's a good example for that. Yeah, right. G65 was a discussion. Okay, is there a need for that car? Yeah. Looking a little bit back in the past and the discussion what we had and what we know now, no, it's not a risk. Yeah.
Right, but you guys, I remember talking to your predecessor, Ola Kalinius, he said that he was shocked at the demand for the G65. Like he told me that he figured, or you figured, or AMG figured you'd sell 500 in 10 years or something, and it was
less than that,
and it was 400 in 6 months and going up.
That's why there's a 6-wheeled truck.
That's a G63,
right?
From Standard. I know there's a company in Germany which put a V12 in that car, but I think that was it's a good example for a project where there was a certain demand out of the markets, especially from Middle East, for sure. And then we didn't know how to handle it because it's expensive to put a V12 in the car. It doesn't fit, and so it was close to zero as a business case. But when you get all the life cycle you expect it within 6 months,
right?
Then the business case is better than you expected. So this is a risk level.
Yeah, and it shows. I mean, I've actually talked to a couple high-ranking people at, say, Volkswagen Group, and they said that part of the decision to go forward with their Bentley and Lamborghini SUVs was they were looking at the success of the G65, and they're like, wow, people are buying $230,000 SUVs like hotcakes, essentially.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the competition, Johnny. I do have some questions, many questions. One of them is, a lot of your competitors, maybe at Weissach, maybe out of Italy, out of England, are doing high-performance vehicles that incorporate hybrid drivetrains. McLaren P1, LaFerrari, obviously the 918 Spider. Where is AMG in that discussion?
We're talking about hypercars.
Yeah.
I think hypercars is not the level what we want to achieve. So this is, you mentioned LaFerrari 918 and the P1 and everything. This is a level, I think, from brand-wise, maybe AMG fits in that, but we can that's a discussion about. Maybe AMG is from brand point of view, it's not in that level till now. And hypercars, it's a little bit the same story than we had in the past. All hypercars coming up on the same time. Yeah, and I think it's hard to get out a business case with that special cars out there, and I think that's not the way we want to go. But the question, what is with electric-driven cars? Yeah, we have an SLS electric drive, which is, I don't know, maybe you drove the car?
I drove an early prototype in Valencia, Spain.
Yeah, what you are able to do with real individual electric motors, so the behavior of the car, you can change everything in terms of driving dynamics, and especially you can drift with the car if you want to.
Well, also the one I drove, I don't know if it's still the production one does it, but did a four-wheel burnout, and I thought that the whole thing had caught on fire because you floor it, and all of a sudden you see smoke coming up, and it was the wheels.
So none of the there's no customers asking for more, I don't know, environmentally responsible 500 horsepower, sports cars?
Yeah, for sure, because we have to take care about our customers and fuel efficiency. And fuel efficiency is a big part of our business strategy. It's a big part of our brand core. And we want to be the benchmark in our segments in terms of fuel efficiency regarding the fleet in Europe and in US as well. And I think we're in a good way there because what we achieved, the fuel efficiency and the consumption, what we have in an C63, for example, it's less than the predecessor, and a CLA45 is rated in Europe with 6.9 liter per 100 kilometers with 360 horsepower. So I think that's the way we are moving to the future.
Okay.
Well, speaking of other types of competition, so as you know, every year we do our best driver's car competition, and for the second year in a row, a Black Series has finished in second place.
I heard it.
Behind the 911.
Yeah. I voted for the
Porsche 911.
I voted for the SLS.
There might be two of us at this table that voted for the SLS, but it's
where are the other guys?
It's a democracy. I mean, look, and to be very fair to the Black Series, like the C63 Black Series was sort of the crowd, like fan favorite maybe, like everyone loved it. Yeah. It's just, the 911 is, it's bred from the beginning to be the 911. It's not a, it's not a C250 that you're putting parts on. And I'm bringing all this up because I know how you feel about it, but you have some kind of competitor in the works, a small sports car we keep seeing pictures of and hearing rumors about. So you kept saying 2014 is going to be exciting.
Anything to mention about that?
Anything to mention about that, Tobias?
There are good rumors around the world, yeah.
Okay.
That's true, and not everything is wrong.
I like that. Okay.
So that's my statement for that. Okay. So let's wait and see. And as I mentioned before,
well, he learns fast. 2 weeks on the job. That's a great answer.
It's changed. I remember before he's like, "Oh yeah, that's great. It's beautiful."
All right. Well, okay. So back to the SLS Black Series. I went on the original launch of SLS, and to be honest, I thought the car was very, very raw, very emotional, very hard to drive, particularly around Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
I spun it there.
Yeah, I love the Black Series, and it's weird because it has less torque, but higher revs, but it drives smaller. It's not as sort of ungainly, and how did you do that? I mean, how did the team? I mean, first of all, did the team recognize? Was there feedback from drivers similar to ours, where it was sort of like this? The original SLS is just sort of crazy, kind of hairy to drive, or?
No, the SLS GT, for example, you saw Maxi in the GT driving Big Willow. So I drove the GT there as well. So the GT went pretty good, but the target always with the SLS Black Series is do two things: have a technology statement and have a car which fits in our brand mindset. So race car, street legal, and I think the Black Series feels like a race car. It's street legal. There's a comfort in the car as well. So if you're driving on standard roads, I think you drove the car a lot. So
it's just weird that the street legal race car to me is more drivable, more comfortable, more confidence inspiring than the regular GT. That's all. It was sort of.
Yeah, maybe that's a personal issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm strange.
No, I mean, I think everyone on staff kind of agrees with that. I mean, we all look. I mean, the Gullwing's cool because it's a Gullwing. Yep. It's an amazing engine. That engine's going to go down. Angus always says if there's a engine Hall of Fame, the 6.2 liter, the M156 goes in there. It sounds amazing, and then you amp that up. But the car is more drivable, and you can put the power down in corners better in the Black Series than you can in the standard Gullwing.
Yeah, we changed a lot there. The Black Series has an electronic controlled limited slip So that works together with all the ESP functionality in the car. If you switch off the ESP functionality, you go in ESP off. So we have different calibration on that limited slip diff. We reduce the weight, 70 kilogram in comparison to the standard SLS. We use carbon fiber torque tube as a structural approach in the car. We have a carbon fiber hood in the car. And the track is wider. We have different tire setup in the car. We have a different suspension setup. We use still the various damping, what we have in the GT. So in different spring rates, different damping setup as well. And we control this is one of the, I think, biggest issue in the car. We control the drivetrain, because if you have a torque tube, you have an engine, a gearbox. This is something which there are masses in a car you have to handle. And we have something in that car which control the movement of the drivetrain according to the movement of the body.
It's such a good improvement, though. I mean, a lot of us fell in love with that Black Series. Yeah. That's really
They're catered to two very different people. Like the standard SLS is the GT that you want to get in, blast across the country.
Yeah, like when we went out to Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, SLS is a great support car for Truck of the Year.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm very curious about is how you do your development at AMG. What do you benchmark in terms of other competitive vehicles? What are you looking at currently? Who is doing it in the performance space, in the who's doing it good, who's doing it bad, would you say? And what do you have? What do you have right now that you are from the competitors?
That's like a 7-part question.
I know. It's a good one, though.
Honestly, you have to have every competitive car in our segment, and we have that. And we own them by ourselves, because otherwise you are not able to do all the analysis you want to have. But the thing is, we are in every segment where AMG is in with our cars, it's a very competitive situation. So it's always a good example for that is the C63 came on the market with 115 something in Hockenheim, small track. Right. He will go out of the market with 113.6 on the same track in the same car. So this shows the improvement, what we have to do. The BMW does the same with the M3. So that's always a competitive situation, and you have always be aware about who is your main competitor. And this is easy for us because the competitive set in every segment is not that big. Yeah? But actually it's getting bigger now. So we see Jaguar is doing, so BMW, Audi, this Porsche, no doubt about. But Jaguar is moving a little bit faster in that segment than we expected. They're doing a good job. They started something in the performance level years ago. It was not a big success for these guys. Then it was a little bit calm around that. And now they're coming back. Cadillac is a company we have to care about, especially in the US. I think in Europe, not that big, but in US we have to care about. And we look quite interested to everything what happened in the market.
So back to the rumored sports car you guys are working on. I know you can't talk about that car, but can you talk about the competitive set that obviously you have or you are benchmarking? Like what sort of cars are you looking at?
Which should we?
Well, you obviously have a 991, right? Do you have a
two of them, honestly?
Do you have a looking to get a GT3 or a turbo when they're available as well?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I know. You've told me that you have a 458 Italia.
No, we don't have. No. We had a 599 when we developed the SLS because of that application of the drivetrain. But yeah, when there would be the chance to have a new sports car,
right?
If there would be one, yeah maybe. Then we have to be aware about all the competitive sets, and this is, for example. The hero in that segment is the 911. Yeah, for sure. And we have an Audi R8 available there. And it's still F-Type. I think it's a different segment. So it's more fits on SL. Okay. As a 63 and F-Type. F-Type is not in that high positioning of pricing, but this is the better brand fit.
I'll ask for Mike. He's too shy. How about GTR? Have you had one in? Have you done analysis on
GTR, and we own one, because GTR is benchmark how you can handle the drivetrain. So this is
Application.
the drivetrain application in that car is it's amazing.
Yeah, we had an Italian engineer tell us that they couldn't figure out how it works. The car that heavy goes that fast around the Nürburgring.
No, it's not a special thing in terms of kinematic and the standard what you have. It's hard springs and everything, but they did nothing unexpected on kinematic side, on suspension setup. It's all about the drivetrain.
So in other words, how much power you can put to the half shafts without the car exploding.
Oh, half shaft broke or so.
Okay, we have a lot of American fans. Do you benchmark? Do you look at? Do you even bother with any of our American performance cars? I mean, we just the Z28 Camaro just ran the ring in like 737. I mean, does that even register? Do you even care? Or you just like?
Yeah, we always look at what happened in the US, because US is a different situation sometimes, because they're coming up with Camaros, they're coming up with CTS-Vs and whatever CTS generation, the new one is very ambitious, and now we take care about that, because we have to be aware of what happened with all the competitive set, and I know that they are looking at our business, and they know that we are successful. It's not easy to copy that, and it's a long-term strategy, what you have to set behind that, and maybe it takes another 5 years or so for the one or the other competitor, but they will be there sooner or later.
First time you and I met was with your predecessor, Ola Klinius, who's now is in charge of sales and marketing for Mercedes-Benz. How is your tenure at AMG? How do you see it differing from what he did, or is it going to differ?
No.
Since he's more of a numbers guy and you're more of an engineer.
You have to in that position. You have to care about numbers as well. If you're responsible for the whole engineering at AMG, you have to care about development numbers. Yeah, so because the budget is anyway it's limited, and if you overrule always the budget, they don't like you in the board. So that happen always. So I think the technical approach will be more deeper in the future. So it's a sign that I'm now responsible for the whole company. So the whole team is dedicated. So the spirit what is in AMG is always dedicated to that. What I told before, what I mentioned before is we're always in a competitive situation. So this is the spirit that in Falterbach. You've been there, you felt it, I think so. And this is our spirit, and I'm a car guy, I think so. And I push everybody to get at that level what we want to achieve.
Okay, last question. I said something very controversial on a previous episode. I said Americans only think they love cars. Americans actually only like cars. Germans love cars. Is there anybody that loves cars more than the people from your country? Is that a true statement?
I don't think so. Really? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we have. It's too easy to do Americans, Germans. I think in US there are people they're so car fans. Yeah, you don't find these group of people in Germany. I think the group of people in America who are really car aficionados, who like cars, who take cars on the track, is bigger than in Europe. Yeah? That's what I feel. Yeah? We have dedicated car guys in Japan, for example. So that's a big group there as well.
The Japanese tend to get fanatic about last.
Yeah. Right. Well, good. Well, that's some nuance to my generalization. Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for watching. Check us out next week for another episode of Wide Open Throttle.